I know a number of you, I guess Allan's testimony first, maybe just because you went first, you want to get rid of the tax that is based on the potency. Have you looked at different states' models? And what states do you actually think have a more rational tax model? Because as I said before, you know, yes, it's my bill. And when it got to tax, it was the one place like we couldn't move the governor. And we, to be honest, like in that final night said, okay, let's just get this bill done finally after 7 years. And then when things don't work out right with taxation, we'll fix them afterwards. So I don't think we, the legislature, were specifically tied into anything. And even today, I'm like, it would be nice if we actually got any taxes at all, because based on the data, we're not really collecting any taxes. So I'm very interested in looking at what models have other states used, or Canada, I guess, was brought up at one time earlier today, to look at. Because if the proposal is just don't tax us at all, that's probably not going to happen. Right. So I'm interested in what you all think is a better model based on any research anybody's done.
Okay, so there's a lot of different ways to go that are from super basic to really complicated. I'm just gonna address your comment about the revenue, because every time we talk to the tax people or anyone that you'll hear from Department of Budget, they want revenue neutral tax proposals. And I think that's an insane ask. One, there's no revenue. Two, cannabis moves at light speeds. So what might have made sense 3 years ago does not make sense today, just because cannabis is evolving so quick as an industry, state by state, and then also hopefully at the federal level. If you look at the most simple ways to collect tax, you're looking at Massachusetts. There's a 20% tax at the register and nothing on the supply chain. We heard today from the tax department that's not possible here because we do need a supply side tax. There are states who will just tax the distributors at 2% on whatever that invoice is and be done with it. And then raise the excise tax a little bit higher than the 13% we currently have at the register. So there's a lot of different ways to do this depending on the goals. Back then, Senator Kruger, what you were talking about, we had, I remember accepting the potency tax because the public health outcries were that if you tax potency, we'll save public health. Well, I think what we've heard today is public health is more about the illicit market and about actual enforcement than it is about taxes. And putting a sin tax on cannabis just simply does not work, and it's just the wrong approach. So I think there's multiple ways to do this that actually make it a lot easier on the businesses and on the state to actually collect the taxes, because what's the point of taxing something that you can't actually get the money? And I will also mention, as a cultivator and a processor, it takes my bookkeepers and myself days every quarter to figure out potency tax, because it is insanely complicated and really, really difficult. And if we could barely figure it out and we're a small business, what's going to happen when there's thousands and thousands of more businesses trying to pay this tax quarterly? It's going to just be an impossible thing to overcome. And it's putting a real burden, and the burden isn't only like the dollars. I'm not saying let's not tax cannabis. The burden isn't necessarily the dollars, it's the time that it takes and the stress that you're not going to do it right, because we make so many different products. We make 90 different SKUs. The potency changes every day by batch, and it is just really, really difficult thing to track.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to jump in? Or
can I add to that?